Hey there, welcome to the show. I'm Mitch Goldberg, financial advisor with the wealth management firm Client for Strategy. This show, well, it's about helping you, it's about arming you with information, knowledge that you need to make the best possible financial decisions for your situation, right? It's a good thing to talk about. I want to talk about the stock market. It is causing a really big problem for those nearing retirement and for those who are newly in retirement. It's a big deal. It's wreaking havoc on people. And today is part of the problem. Even though the market was up over 700 points in the Dow, it's part of a problem that is driving people a little crazy. And we'll talk about that. So this will be a quick one. Stick around and we'll get right into it. And I'll tell you the problem. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Mitch. If you have any questions during the live stream or if you watch it on the repeat later on, um, go ahead and ask me in the comments. I'll see the comments. I'd be happy to answer your question. If you want to, if you're a little shy and you want to ask me in a DM, you can do that too. Better yet, you can give me a call. You can reach me via email, mgoldberg at Client First Strategy. You can call us 631 920 6624. So reach out. And while you're watching us, give it a thumbs up if you like the kind of content we create here. Here's the problem. Okay. Let me just do a quick share screen. All right. So the problem here is this: the Dow, another big day up 700 points. But last week, we had a day when the Dow was down about 700 points, and the Nasdaq was up about 2.5%. The S&P was up almost 2%. Gold rebounding. Gold's doing pretty well. Oil topping 80. The 10-year Treasury yield, which briefly touched 4.8, and the talk was, we're going straight to 5%. It's backed off to 4.65%. At 5%, that puts so much weight on the market. It would really be tough for the growth stock contingent to hold up, especially because of their valuations. And that is your typical large cap tech stocks, the ones we talk about all the time, like Meta and Google, which is Alphabet, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. By the way, when I said the Dow Jones is up 700 points, that means also that you cannot invest directly into an index, but you can invest into a security that tracks or mimics an index. So why is it a problem? Like, am I complaining that the Dow is up 700 points? I should be happy. I should high five all my coworkers and walk out here proud and go to the nearest steakhouse and go to the bar and celebrate. No, that's not what I do here. To me, this is really just another day. I do nothing different whether if the Dow is up 700 or down 700. It doesn't really matter. The job goes on. The day-to-day duties that we have to do to serve our clients doesn't change. You have goals, and that's what we're doing right now. We're talking to our clients about financial goals this year, any big expenses coming up this year, anything that we have to help our clients prepare for. Usually we're ahead of the curve, but we just always want to check in with clients and make sure, because goals change or the date of when you expect these goals to happen change. Talking about goals, the problem for the market is this: for people who are nearing retirement, so let's call it the 55, 60-year-olds, low 60s, mid 60s, and people who are newly in retirement, we'll say, mid 60s. This is a problem for them because that's the age when you are very careful about adding up your assets. You take out your pencil and your paper and you start writing things down, and you list all your assets. You list every stitch of income you could get. You list your little, your expenses. And I see people getting as granular as, haircut every 4 weeks, dry cleaning, 14 shirts every 3 weeks. Like people get very granular with this. And the reason is it's a reflection of, I think, some anxiety and trying to be as prepared as possible for retirement that's coming up. But the key thing here that I'm talking about is the stock market. And when you see the value of your investments go up 3 or 4% or down 3 or 4%, every week or every other week, that creates havoc because then you really don't know. It causes havoc because you really don't know how much money you have. Well, one week I have $80,000, $100,000 more than last week, and the next week it goes away. And that's creating a problem because it's making planning very, very difficult. Well, if you're planning for an X amount of net worth and for that money to compound at a certain rate while you're withdrawing, let's say 4 or 5% annually to pay for your living expenses, it's easy to do with steady numbers. But when the value of your portfolio changes drastically from week to week, every other week, or month to month, it becomes a problem. It creates anxiety. It creates a lot of worry. And then it makes people do things that are not advantageous to their situation. Like, well, I better just sell because I really need to have the final number to have. So I'm just going to sell a lot of stocks or sell everything. Or they say, market's going back up, I better buy back everything I just sold because I still have to fight inflation for the next 20 or 30 years or however long I live. And it's creating havoc. It's making people do dumb things. Knee-jerk reactions is probably a more kind, polite way to say dumb things. And then you have to go back to the drawing board every week and add up all of the value of everything you have. And if you're close to retirement, take it from me, I'll bet you watching this, if you're close to retirement, you're checking the value of your bank accounts on your banking app and the value of your investment accounts every day. Not that you should check it every day, but you are doing it because you're a little bit nervous of what's coming up. Because now the real decision is going to be made. That could impact if you're going to run out of money before you die, or if you're going to have enough money, maybe not only to live well, but to leave some money to your family, to buy the boat and do the things that you wanted to do. You're worrying about your health care. You're worrying about Alzheimer's and dementia, so many things to worry about. And the stock market is making the financial planning aspect very difficult because of this crazy volatility. Down 600, 700 point day last week, an up 700 point day this week. So you really have to get a grip on your psychology of how much of how this is affecting you. And I'm going to say you better get used to it because, for one thing, excuse me, I have a cold again. Okay, and it keeps just a drip. So for one thing, there's a new world order. I've never seen a president-elect more aggressive than President-elect Trump. And he's basically acting like the president, flying around the country, making policy announcements. His envoys are part of the envoy that has reached a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel today, which is really good news. That's part of it. Usually you want the new incoming administration to transition with the old one so that you can hit the ground running, and that's good for national security and all the things that we need to keep going. We don't want interruptions. But there's a very aggressive change in world order in terms of, the U.S. is no longer patrolling the oceans to keep maritime peace, to keep free and fair trade going. We're just talking about invading allies like Norway through taking over Greenland and Canada and the Panama Canal. I mean, all of these things are really not necessary. We could get into a debate about that, okay? But there is definitely a major change to world order. It's going to create a lot of havoc, a lot of second guessing, and a lot of the things that you as an investor and someone planning for your future financially, a lot of the assumptions that you have, there's a good chance that they might not work. You have to be very flexible in your thinking. Not to mention the volatility of the stock market. One day, quantum computing is in and quantum computing stocks leap. The next day, quantum computing stocks tank because the CEO of NVIDIA said, well, not so fast. We're still a long time away. And then they go back up because the CEO of Microsoft says, wow, this is really big. It's important. We have to think about this now. So this kind of volatility is going to stick with us. And this is why it's so important to invest, not just for growth, not just to stay out of inflation, but invest for diversification. Diversification is a strategy that we use to mitigate risk, but it doesn't necessarily protect your portfolio from going down in a generally down market. However, it changes the way investors invest. It makes me explain to clients. I'll show you this. This is what I say to clients. It's kind of a joke, but it's kind of serious, okay? I'm saying to some clients, BYGFO, because you got effing old. In other words, I say to them, it used to be that when you sold stocks or a stock, you replaced it with a new stock or new stocks. But today, we're replacing, for many clients as they age, we're replacing stocks with more stable assets, such as, T-bills, for example. And that's part of the aging process and part of the process where, as you get older, you become a bit more conservative because you don't have the time horizon ahead of you to take on a lot of market risk. It's not necessarily something for the 20 and 30-year-olds, but definitely for the 55, 60 plus crowd. You better believe that, and this has always been this way the way we've done it, as people reach that age, we start to move much heavier out of stocks and into more stable investments and income producing investments as well. By the way, income producing investments are not necessarily more stable investments. They're just investments, and all investments carry a degree of risk, be it from volatility or interest rate risk, reinvestment risk, something like that, risk of principal loss. They all carry some level of risk. There is no such thing as a risk-free investment. Even a checking account or a savings account has risks because it has risks of purchasing power, meaning inflation erodes the value of stable accounts. So these are the things that we talk about, and these are the things we help people get ready for. And that is why I'm telling you, in my view, today the Dow up 700 points, normally I would think is a good thing, but for a lot of people, it's a bad thing because it's making the value of your net worth go up and down so much lately that it's creating a lot of anxiety, and it's making people do a lot of knee-jerk reaction things with their money. So I'm not changing anything because of the extreme volatility we're seeing. We will have times of equanimity again in the market, but with a change to the global order that President Trump is ushering in, whether if you think that is good or bad, you could debate that amongst yourselves. Because of the advent of artificial intelligence and how that's going to impact things, not necessarily good or bad for stocks. I'm just saying how that impacts things like employment and how inflation will change from the end of globalization and how inflation will change from the end of globalization. Investors have more change coming up now than they ever have, than I've ever seen in my career. And I've been at this for about almost 35 years. That's a lot of change. So hang on to your hat. This ride is going to get bumpy. Thanks for watching, and I will keep you posted.